Yeah, because we have been tired, we got some sponsors.
Randy, how are you? I know, mine too. I got to get mine done. I will too. Very soon. Yeah. Yeah, that's why. Because you don't want to do it at 7 o'clock. And I thought that was probably okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. My quarterly. Okay. Great. Thanks. That's sheepish, right? How do you get that? I had to ask someone today. Oh, is it? All right. Yeah, exactly. American. Well, good. I was supposed to say $5. Watch it, Graham.
I know, man. I set it up and I tear it down.
It does. Wow.
My dad gave it to me.
I never would have noticed that.
Sometimes seeing is believing, so.
It's the magic of Christmas.
It's between this or my light up tie. Figure I'd keep it a bit formal.
Last meeting.
Sure have. This is small ones. I'm gonna do this part, Almer, and then you do all this. Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. You have one for each of us, or do I need one? I've got it. Here's you right here. You start, I started really continued to play in the late 60s.
Hey. Doing all right. Blessings to you. Coming up.
Now that you read that, because you're responsible. You know we got
Hey, Miss Gladys. Blessings to you.
Are you okay, Bob? Tim said, I said, are you okay? He said, do I look okay? I said, don't give me any crap. I said, that is my duty. I'm the clerk. My duty is to ask you guys, are you okay? May not be able to help you, but I say you're okay.
No, actually, she and I are dating. Have been long years. Glad to be at Jones Council meeting. Even tonight, if you want. We gotta catch up.
Joe, how are you? Hey, Joe.
Well, I used to break up before the holidays.
Cheaper that way.
Hey, Joe.
Okay. You got bits on time tonight? So no questions? That's right.
All in favor?
I just hope you to get really dumped on tonight or it doesn't come at all. I don't like this 4 to 5 inches where you have to go.
I know.
Thursday was horrible.
It was.
Okay. You want to do budget process? You want to do budget process? Great teachers, complementary training, the rest of the file. And maybe I'll just sign it, make sure it's kind of good thing. I have a lot more thoughts on it, but.
Yes, I did. I texted him back. Yeah, is he here? No.
Jennifer?
You can stamp them because you're going to have to give them out. Yeah, you're going to have to give them out. So you can stamp them.
Missouri Tigers made it.
Let me let him know.
They're playing Texas in the Texas Bowl, which was good recruitment.
Texas. Some of these roles here. We're gonna have the Indiana Bowl soon.
So it was named something else.
I know.
You know, they started out 1-5. Is this a comeback? They did. It was 7-5. No, I think it's in Dallas.
Probably Cottonwood, though. Oh, you play at the new
No, I
stadium?
think it's at the new stadium.
New stadium? Okay.
El Paso. You know what? They play that. You know, that does well. 30 seconds.
But the next one, I would spend.
They can't wait till that one till later.
They gotta do it.
You gotta make all the announcements.
Go, Gavin. You got 10 seconds.
He can do it.
Good evening. Monday, December 11th, Common Council meeting is now in session. Would you please stand? And our invocation is by Deacon Melvin Tardy from St. Augustine Parish. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Let us bow our heads and put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. On this December 11th, this birthday of the state of Indiana, the date in which we joined the Union, let us think about those things that unite us as we prepare to gather for this South Bend Common Council. Let us think about the things that we have in common as opposed to the things that may divide us. Let us remember those who still suffer the effects of violence, including a young man who is okay but was shot a little earlier today, not too far from here, that he would be okay, and all of those who are touched by violence in some way, that God's mercy will be upon them. Let us remember that this is something that we all share in common, that we share our human sufferings, but we also share the promise of the blessings that lie before us when we come together as one, when we come together and think about what we have in common. And let us always be mindful of those who are the voiceless, who are the marginalized, who do not have the power to right the ship that needs to be righted, but that we may speak on their behalf and act on their behalf. This is what makes us great. This is what makes us a more perfect union. Let us pray all of this in God's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. If you would, please turn your cell phones to silent. Ms. Fowler, roll call.
Councilmember Preston?
Here.
Councilmember Kelly?
Here.
Councilmember Broden?
Here.
Councilmember Varner?
Present.
Vice President Davis?
Present.
Councilmember Bordy?
Present.
Councilmember Furlick?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Present.
President Scott?
Present.
9 present.
Thank you. Report on subcommittee and minutes, please.
To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the Subcommittee on Minutes has inspected the minutes of the November 13th, 2017 meeting of the Council and the November 27th, 2017 meeting of the Council and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved.
Motion to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Special business, please. Ms. Fowler, would you please read 1517?
1517, a resolution awarded by the South Bend Common Council, member at large Karen White, honoring William Terrell Nix, fondly known as Billy Stick Nix, for his contribution to the arts in South Bend and the Michiana area.
Thank you. Is there a presenter or presenters?
Yes.
Would you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Karen L. White, and my residence is 1912 Melbourne Way here in South Bend, 46614, and the co-sponsors are
Oliver Davis, 1801 Knapp Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46613.
Regina Williams Preston, 838 North Elmer Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46628.
At this time, we're happy to present to the council a special proclamation in honor of the late Billy Sticks Nix. At this time, we'd like to ask members of his family and others who have come with him to come to the podium.
Come on up, please.
Well, we're very honored to be able to present this special proclamation in honor of a very outstanding special person. And so I would like to share the rest of the proclamation with you, the council, and the audience at this time. Whereas Billy Sticks Nix was born on December 8, 1934, the second of 7 children born to Wise and Alma Nix in Greenwood, Mississippi, where his parents were sharecroppers on a large cotton plantation. And whereas Billy's parents chose to move to South Bend, Indiana, where his father had relatives in the autumn of 1944, in an attempt to escape the racial inequities of the Deep South and in search of fairness and equity and a better life for his young family. And whereas Billy attended South Bend Central High School, and his friend Jackie Ivory gave him his nickname Sticks, because Billy had developed the habit of carrying a set of drumsticks with him at all times and drummed on whatever was within his reach at that time. It soon became obvious that he had a God-given talent for the drums, and he purchased his first set of drums from a local pawn shop with money he earned working for a typewriter company. And whereas Billy, being self-taught and after much patience, started his first band, the Blues Notes, while still in high school, and they played at a weekly sock-up dance and local parties from 1953 to 1955, where the band was also known as the Whooping, Popping, Bopping Showstoppers. Wow. And whereas Billy graduated from high school in 1954, he became involved in another band called They Ribbon Rockers. I love the titles, which included another famous South Bend musician, Junior Walker, on saxophone, and Fred Patton on piano and vocals, with Billy also contributing on vocals in addition to acting as the band's leader and, of course, drummer.
And whereas Billy Sticks Nix's reputation as a drummer grew, and he played with many other young up-and-coming artists at various local venues, including the Morris Park Country Club, where he was approached by the mother of a young fan who admires Billy's unique skills and asked if he would consider teaching her son. This led to young Billy's first foray into a lifetime career of teaching drumming. And whereas in 1956, Billy and the Rhythm Rockers were hired to perform at a general grand opening of a teen dance party at Club 46 for WNDU-TV, which became a standing gig after they signed a contract to play for the weekly Saturday afternoon dance party television show for WNDU. And whereas Billy was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1957, and while taking a forced break from his own band, he played in the Army band as a percussionist, and his tour of duty led him to Germany. When he was honorably discharged in 1959, he returned to South Bend and began playing with a long-time friend, Oscar Baby Jones, in several engagements as the Oscar Baby Jones Jazz Quartet. And whereas in 1962, Billy joined forces with his old friend Jackie Ivory and the Gents of Soul, and they recorded an LP in Chicago that was released on Atco Atlantic Records. Billy created this event and the tour of the Southern states that followed as a turning point in his career. And whereas in 1963, Billy married Patty Tay, and they were married for nearly 54 years. Patty survives along with 4 children and 9 grandchildren. And whereas Billy also played and recorded with the Motown Soul record label with his former bandmate Junior Walker and the All-Stars in 1962, and in 1966 they opened at the famed Apollo Theater in New York City. They played many other venues, including Harvard University, the Regal Theater in Chicago, the Uptown Theater in Philadelphia, Constitutional Hall in Washington, D.C., and with many famous artists, including Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, the Staple Singers, Louis Armstrong, Sammy Davis Jr., the Fifth Dimensions, Marvin Gaye, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Four Tops, the Isley Brothers, Dionne Warwick, and a host of others too numerous to mention. And whereas in 1967, Billy organized and performed with his own trio, the Billy Nicks Jazz Trio, when he was not traveling with Junior Walker, and they played many reputable venues. Also in 1967, Billy signed a contract with the University of Notre Dame and became a disc jockey of his own show, the Bill Nicks Radio Hour at WNDU Studios, which was a colossal success. And oh, I'm sorry.
And whereas Billy continued to play in the late 1960s through the mid-1970s with many famous artists, including Mary Wells, jazz legend Sonny Stitt, and blues legend Pine Top Perkins, all while still playing in his own jazz trio and with Junior Walker and the All-Stars. And whereas Billy also branched off into promotions of other artists and in music publication, while still continuing to teach at his own private studio, Nicks Music Studio, where he acted as the percussion and studio director and for affiliated groups, in addition to his teaching of percussion at the University of Notre Dame. And whereas one has only to look at the guest book feature on Billy Nicks' website to see how universally he was loved and valued as a man and musician, to know what an impact he has made on thousands upon thousands of people whose lives he has touched throughout all his years prior to his passing. In a recent South Bend Tribune Viewpoint article by Jeff Harrell, with whom Billy played in their Billy Sticks, Nicks, and the Motown Machine show, he called Billy just a beautiful spirit. This is an understatement and doesn't even begin to describe such a talented and honorable man, but it's a good start. And whereas the name Billy Sticks Nicks will forever be preceded by the word legendary. And whereas Billy's life and his extensive experience in the local music culture and his many contributions to the arts through his lifelong work and love of music, and as a role model for other young drummers who aspire to greatness, led to his 2017 induction into the South Bend Hall of Fame.
Now therefore be it publicly and privately proclaimed as Section 1. On behalf of the citizens of South Bend, Indiana, and the South Bend Common Council, we proudly and publicly recognize and thank Billy Sticks Nicks for his numerous contributions to the art in our community and the entire music world. Section 2. We also look forward to Billy's legacy as being a positive role model and inspiration to all aspiring musicians, young and old, in our community. Section 3. We wish Billy Sticks Nicks and his family all the blessings of God to one of the most talented spirits this world has ever known. Rest in peace, Billy. You are always in our hearts.
Thank you so much.
We ask for your support.
At this time, would any of the family members like to say anything? State your name and address, please.
Patty Nicks, 114 St. Lo Avenue, Mishawaka, Indiana, 46545. My family and I would like to thank the South Bend County Council for this honor. My father, William T. Nicks, would be humbled by this honor. He was a hard worker, kind, loving, patient, God-fearing man. And Bill was passionate about his music, the drums, and helping others, and especially children's education. On behalf of the Billy Sticks Nicks family, we'd like to thank you, and God bless you, and we truly, humbly accept this honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Pastor Rick Jackson, pastor of Olivet AME Church, located at 719 North Notre Dame Avenue, here in South Bend, 46617. It's been a joy and a privilege and an honor to be the pastor of such a spirit as Billy Sticks Nicks. I'm reminded of something that comes out of the Bible that says, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Well, we know that many good things have come out of South Bend. South Bend, you need to be very proud of yourself for the production of such spirits who have made such an impact, not just on the community and not just on music, but on the lives of so many people. He poured love in. And that love is being redistributed now through those whom he loved. And they're able to show that love to others. And so I'm just privileged and honored to be able to say I was his pastor. And I was able to minister to him as he ministered to me for these 3 years. God bless Billy Sticks Nicks and all that he gave to us.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was one anyway. This time I'm going to turn back to council for comments. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. I had the great pleasure of knowing Billy for a lot of years, and he was the kind of man that made people feel special every time he saw you. He was such a talent. I had the pleasure of working with him in band also, and he had far more energy than any of the younger people in that band, and he was always trying to get new sounds out of his drum. As accomplished as he was consistently working and trying to get better and do more things and be innovative. He was such an inspiration in so many ways, and it's an honor to be here tonight to help recognize him. Thank you all.
Brooke?
Yes, thank you. Equally honored to be a member sitting on this council and to be a part of this really well-deserved honor. What comes to mind for me is just pure joy and pure love. If you had the opportunity to watch him perform, and I'm certain his students probably knew the same depth of love and joy as he taught them, it was very difficult to walk away. It was very difficult just to watch that, performance, because it called the best out of you, and the same. So, and I know some of you have performed with him over the years, and one thing I did have the really fortunate opportunity was just a short time ago is actually going to the South Bend Hall of Fame honors. And I want to commend you as his daughter for doing just a beautiful job at a very difficult time to give such a strong tribute that evening. I would also like to take this opportunity as someone sitting in that audience and moved by his interview that was broadcasted on WNIT to encourage any child or any adult in this community to watch that piece and to be moved by it and inspired by it. And then the last thing I would like to say is just as we shared in the love and the joy and the just immense talent, we also as a community share in your deep loss, especially as we approach this holiday time. So thank you for sharing him with the community for so many years in so many ways. And what a who's who of musical talent that he was elbow to elbow with and out in front of. So congratulations. Beautiful, beautiful memories for our community, and I'm sure for you as a family.
Dr. Dave?
Thank you. This is one of those moments when I can honestly say I never met the gentleman, but having heard all this, I wish I had. And you think back, wouldn't it have been nice to have had that experience? So this must be a difficult time for you with the holidays and the loss of your father, so I offer my sympathies and certainly my support for the resolution. And it just makes things a little bit better.
I think we were all fortunate to be graced by his presence. He was such a friendly, open, genuine guy. I saw him at Teachers Credit Union just about seems like a few days, maybe a week or so before he passed, and couldn't get out of there without him wanting to shake your hand and say hello and ask how you were, things. It's just the way he was. And I was thinking just now, when maybe when we hear the thunder rumbling from an approaching storm, it'll really be Billy. But anyway, it's a good way to remember him.
So sorry for your loss, but it's an honor to be able to recognize his legacy, and I know it's a legacy that'll live on for a long time.
So, I'm a transplant. I did not know Billy, but I heard about Billy. A friend of mine played trombone in a few Motown bands, and he actually told me about him. And it was like, you know where you live? Billy lives there. It's like, okay. So I learned a lot about him, and I wish I had the opportunity to meet him. But that's the one thing that we're celebrating here is that cultural improvement to our city and what we need to recognize. And we need to recognize the arts. And, forever, everything that he taught and is passed down, that's what South Bend's about. So thank you so much. It's an honor for us to do this. This will, in a minute worldwide recognition of him, will go down in the history of South Bend. It'll always be in the record book. And we're honored to do our small part. Vice President Davis, and you and the sponsors would like to add anything?
I would just like to say, again, it's truly an honor to have you all here tonight. When you look at the phrase of a person who's able to walk with queens and kings and to not lose the common touch. And that's always a blessing when I remember him and his smile and the way he greeted you and saw him and just really just lift you up no matter what happens in your life. And to be able to have that throughout his life, that was genuine. And he was a genuine person, and just seeing you all smile tonight, it brings that back to, because something, a person may pass away, but their legacy lives on. And that's what's so powerful, that you can still hear those beat drums in your life, and we must follow those calls and never forget that. So it's truly an honor to have all of you. Thank you again. It's an honor to be a part of this.
Thank you. Anything else? We're good. With that, we'll open up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of this resolution, please come to the podium.
My name is Samuel Brown. I live at 222 Eastern Bar Street in Cedar, South Bend. I know Mr. Nix quite a while, and I had a post office box not too far from his post office box, and we would always chat. And he made everybody that he met just like he knows Johnny's life. And my grandson Kai did a report on Mr. Nix, and Kai couldn't get the impact of who Billy was, because Mr. Nix made him feel like just an average guy. And I kept telling Kai, I said, he's somebody special. And, we're going to truly, truly miss him. Because when I went to the Cell Grill, I had some people in town one time, and I went up to him and I talked to him, and he was like, you know that guy? I said, yeah. He says, they couldn't foul him that because he was a magician, he was playing, and he treated me just like we was old friends, you know what I mean? That's the way he made everybody feel. May God bless him, bless his family.
Thank you, sir. Next, name and address, please.
Gladys Muhammad, 808 North Ironwood. I just want to say that one of his studios was in the South Bend Heritage Building, Colfax. And when we get to work, we would hear them drums playing all the time. But I think Bill Nix was one of the kindest human beings that ever lived. He was always kind. No matter what, he smiled at people, he shook hands, he did always ask about, how's your family? How's everybody doing? He took time to do that. Sometimes people don't always take time to do that. But he was just a kind person. And I know all his kids. And I think they're all friendly and kind. It's a blessing to be here and to hear all of this. It's great. was a great person and lived in our midst. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none. Anyone wishing to speak against? Seeing none. Turn it back to council.
Motion to adopt the acclamation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Very nice.
How you doing? Good, good. So you playing music over there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm be there.
How you doing?
Good to you guys.
I'm good.
Good to see you.
You too. I'll see you.
What's his
Thank you all. Okay, thank you. Ms. Fowler, will you read 1617, please?
1617, a resolution of the Common Council of South Bend publicly recognizing and commending Bernice Ball Freeman for her outstanding passion and commitment to racial and social justice in the city of South Bend.
Thank you. Is there a presenter?
Yes, there are two presenters. Again, my name is Karen White. I live at 1912 Melbourne Way here in South Bend, Indiana.
Oliver Davis, 801 Nash Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46613.
Thank you.
In the 6th District.
Again, it's a pleasure to be able to present another proclamation to our own Bernice Ball Freeman. We'll ask her to join the podium along with her sister, Gladys Muhammad. Whereas, as an at-large Common Council member of the City of South Bend, Indiana, I am humbled to honor and publicly recognize the many contributions and the public service that Bernice Ball Freeman has rendered to the City of South Bend and its residents. And whereas Mrs. Ball Freeman worked for the Opportunity Industrial Career Center, OIC, of America, founded by Dr. Leon Sullivan in 1984 for over 15 years, where she helped participants gain basic educational skills and helped hundreds receive a GED. And whereas Mrs. Ball Freeman has continued to serve as a life skill coach to numerous at-risk youth and currently serves young adult women through the Porch Life program operated by the Youth Service Bureau of St. Joseph County. And whereas having been breast cancer free for 23 years, Mrs. Ball Freeman founded the Reaching Out Breast Cancer Awareness Center, providing door-to-door educational services to raise breast cancer awareness and to promote early detection. And
whereas Ms. Ball Freeman has voluntarily served numerous local agencies in various capacities as a constant voice for disenfranchised members of the South Bend community, including the Minority Health Coalition, the Chronic Disease Prevention Task Force, the Michiana Cancer Survivors Society, Women in Touch, Michiana Cancer Task Force, Bridges Out of Poverty, United Community Against Drug and Alcohol Abuse, St. Joseph County Drug Coalition Board, South Bend Human Rights Commission, the Women's Concern Committee, and Toys for Tots as a key organizer for 20 years, and responsible for the street renaming of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas Mrs. Ball Freeman has been honored with the Drum Major Award by the Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation, and more recently as City of South Bend's Black History Month honoree. Now therefore be it proclaimed by Karen White, council member at South Bend at large, I join in that too, as a South Bend Common Council person. Section 1, it is our distinct honor to publicly commend and honor the services of Mrs. Bernice Ball Freeman for her countless contributions made to our community and her passionate commitment to racial and social justice. Section 2, on behalf of the City of South Bend, Indiana, we are most humbled to thank Mrs. Ball for her long-standing service and commitment to our city and wish her many more years of good works in relation to racial and social justice. Signed this 11th day of December 2017, the City of South Bend, the County of St. Joseph, the State of Indiana.
Thank you.
I'd like to hear from
Anyone
Sister
else?
and then
Gladys Muhammad, 808 North Ironwood. I just want to say that my sister Bernice, everybody knows my name, so everybody knows me. But they don't always know where the power comes from, and everybody helps me. You know, you can't get anything done without somebody helping you. And my sister Bernice is always right there behind me, helping me. And she'll say, you think of things for people to do, and then you asked us to do them. And they do. But I remember years ago when we grew up and we went to Washington High School, as soon as Bernice got 19 and graduated from school, she was gone. She went to Chicago and lived in Chicago for years. And years later, she came back to South Bend, and she immediately got involved with the community and helping people, help them put their lives back together, working with low-income people and helping them. I remember when she worked for Work One, I think it was called CETA at the time. And Bernice, when people would, you know, you get them jobs, and then you didn't know what happened to them anymore. And Bernice went and told me one day, I'm going to knock on these doors and find out why they didn't go to work. And then she said, you going with me. So we had to go on the southeast side. Then it was really the southeast side. And Bernice went knocking on people's doors and asking them, I want to know why you didn't go to work today. We did a lot of work helping you get a job, and you're going to tell me why you didn't keep it. And they would come out and tell her too. But my sister Bernice still does a lot of work in this community, and I love her for it. And I appreciate them recognizing all those contributions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to humbly thank you for this award, but I have to tell you, a couple days ago somebody asked me, they said, aren't you going to retire yet? When are you going to retire? You're 75 years old. And I said, well, why don't you ask me? No, they said, are you tired of working? I said, yes. And they said, well, why don't you retire? I said, why don't you ask me if I like money? And I said, and then I'll tell you yes, and that's why I still work, because I like to spend money. But actually, when I came back to South Bend in 1983, I lived in Chicago for 23 years. For a whole year, I was Gladys Muhammad's sister. I had no identity. I was just Gladys Muhammad's sister. And one day, finally, there was a minister, and he introduced me to somebody. He said, oh, this is Gladys Muhammad's sister. I said, wait a minute. I have a name. My name is Bernice Freeman. And besides that, Gladys Muhammad is my sister, since I'm the oldest.
Thank you. I'll turn back to council right now for comments. Mr. Fairley?
Just thank you for all the great work you've done in our community. We appreciate it.
Likewise, thank you very much for your contributions.
Thanks for coming back and making this a better place.
Thank you so much. I hail, as you do, from the not-for-profit arena, and whether on the board side or on the administrative side, there's always this worker bees and queen bees. You know, who's who does what, who carries the load, who's the thinkers, who are the innovators. And you're the full package. When we look at this list of the organizations that you've been a part of and that you've touched, you do them both. And we are so grateful as a council and a community for your leadership. And I'm so glad that you clarified today the sister lineup. As one of 7 sisters as well, I know the power of sisters, and you're doing together both things for our community. But it's so appropriate that we lift you up today and going forward with this resolution for all your fine work. Thank you so much.
Hello, Bernice. This is a night of bright lights and inspiring lights for our community. I'm so honored to be here to recognize first Billy Sticks-Nix and now you tonight. I've seen you in action. Appreciate so much the work that you do in our community. It really is a better place because of you. And can't thank you enough. Congratulations tonight.
Well, I have to say, by the time I got back to town, nobody was calling you Gladys Muhammad's sister. When I got involved, I was told I need to go see Bernice Freeman. And then I think I sat in your living room, and that's when I really began to understand the connection and all of the different things that you did. So you certainly are a name in and of itself. And as I looked, I had no idea, you know, of all of the things. I guess I could have guessed. But if someone were to ask me why you don't retire, I would say it's because there's more work to be done. You're one of those people that will be there at all times whenever there is a person in need. And we thank you for that. Thank you.
Ms. Freeman, thank you so much for what you've done. You're a doer, and that's important. And I think that little sister has figured some of that out too. But you know, that's what I think is the life lesson right now for a lot of the millennials and others around here is to do. You know, ideas, plans are nothing without action. And thank you for your action. Appreciate it. Mr. Davis, Ms. White.
Yes. Council, there's a song that talks about let the works that I do speak for me. And the works truly do speak for Miss Bernice here. That they have been speaking for her for a long while, all what you heard tonight. And the reason at 75, in their family, 75 is relatively young. When you have parents that lived to 100 and everything else, and they were cutting, her daddy was cutting grass and doing everything else in his late 90s and all that good stuff. So that's one of the reasons. She's still a young babe in her family, and so that's one of the reasons why she still got all this energy. So yeah, when she gets about 90, then she'll probably maybe slow down at that time. But we thank her, and we thank her for her ministry, and we're glad for both of you and your sister and all the other family members who have been a part of our community. Thank you.
It's just an honor to be able to present this resolution to Bernice. We go way back, and I just learned today that Bernice is older than Gladys. I thought Gladys was older. And Gladys has a tendency to tell you what you need to do, how to do it, and guess what? We do it. And so Bernice, has just been a pleasure working with you and knowing you. I've had the opportunity to work with her son when he was a student at IU South Bend, and you are tremendous. And so it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Right now we'll turn it over to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium.
My name is Samuel Brown. I live at 222 East LeBar Street in the city of South Bend. I serve with Bernice on the Human Rights Commission. And I really can't say that I know Bernice like I know Gladys. But I'm also on the Martin Luther King Planning Committee for the Martin Luther King holiday. And I go and sit at Gladys' table, and I sit next to Bernice sometimes. And it's a pleasure to know how knowledgeable she is about everything. And that's, because I never was one to kind of like walk up to her because she didn't really have that demeanor like, I want to talk to you. So I would never do that. But as I sit at the table with her, it's an honor just to be around her and I listen to her talk. And I hope that she just keep on doing what she do because she's very knowledgeable. You know, so this resolution is only fitting that we honor her.
Thank you. Next, come on up. Thank you, sir.
My name is Grayson Warren. I live in 1930, excuse me, 39 North, excuse me, Johnson Street. South Bend, Indiana.
Okay?
Is that water? Is that water? Karen, is yours up?
This one's my favorite.
I've known Bernice all my adult life, and well, we grew up together in the same area. My sister was a very good friend of her older sister, and her brother was friend with one of the younger ones. As long as I can remember, this family has been civically minded. And I can't think of a more deserving person to get this honor than Bernice. And I love her like a sister.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none. Anyone dare to get past the little sister to speak against? Seeing none, we'll turn back to council.
Motion to adopt by acclamation. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you so much.
That's in the record now. Thank you so much.
I left my pen.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I need that. See, you trying to take my pen. See?
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, under special business, we have a report update from Randy Sheebish from the St. Joseph County Waste Management District. Sir, thank you. If you state your name and address for the record and give us your update.
Randy Sheebish with offices at 828 First Street in South Bend. I'd like to keep the good feelings going, although it's not on this. On the printed version, Sheebish is spelled correctly.
Yes, all right.
Excellent. Yeah. I don't know how long you had to fight with spell check, but that's
no vowels needed.
The Solid Waste Management District was legislated into existence in 1991. Every county in the state is required to form a district or be part of a multi-county district, with the exception of Marion County, which was exempted from the law, and still is. Our district serves the local community by providing curbside recycling, a household hazardous waste drop-off facility, which is also commonly referred to as HHW program, and educational programs for recycling, which occur mostly in schools and various community groups. We are a governmental entity, although we are not city, county, or state, with oversight by a 9-member board of directors made up of elected officials. These directors, by law, are the mayors of both South Bend and Mishawaka, the 3 county commissioners, a representative of the South Bend, Mishawaka, and county councils, and a sitting town board member. And because we have so many small towns with elected boards in this county, the legislature decided that the circuit court judge would pick who that is, and currently that is a member of the New Carlisle Town Council. As a governmental entity, we follow all of the same legal requirements, State Board of Accounts practices, DLGF guidelines, etc., as cities, counties, or any other governmental body. Our board approves a resolution in favor of our budget proposal, which is then officially passed by the county council per law every year. The district employs 6 full-time staff, 3 in the office, and 3 in the household hazardous waste program. We also have 2 part-time staff. One works 20 hours a week in both the office and the HHW program, and the other only works Saturdays to help out in the HHW, which tends to be our busiest night. Our funding comes from program fees charged to residents in our curbside program, as well as tipping fees, which we receive $2 per ton from Prairie View landfill for every month to offset recycling costs. That is a common practice in the state for funding of districts. The annual tipping fee revenue can fluctuate drastically from under $550,000 to over $700,000 a year. That's only happened a couple times in 27 years, so we don't count on that one. We generally use $500,000 for the purpose of figuring our revenue for our budget request annually. 2017 was a year of major changes for the district. Starting about 5 years ago, we began to think about moving our HHW office into one location. The HHW program had been on East 5th Street in Mishawaka, and our office, we'd always rented space somewhere around South Bend. Most recently in the basement of Alliance Architects on Midway East. We started to talk about could we build, could we buy something. We were completely out of space in Mishawaka. For the past 8 years, since I've been the director, starting at the second board meeting we ever had after I took this position, I told them you're going to have to raise fees around 2016 if nothing changes. Then things changed. We were able to make it through until this year. The 13 years that I've been associated with the district as either the county council representative on the board or the director, the discussion has occurred regarding putting our fees on the tax bill as a cost-saving measure. As it turned out, after all these years of discussion, each and every one of these major changes took place at the same time to start this year. First, the fee increase. In the past, county residents paid $2.70 per month, or $32.40 annually. City of South Bend residents paid $1.97 per month on the water bill, of which the district's portion was actually $1.76 per month. The city tacked on a processing fee of 21 cents per household per month. Starting in 2003, I discovered when I became the director, the district was paying more to the vendor for the curbside program than $1.76 per household per month. In other words, other revenue sources were covering the cost of South Bend households. In 2015, our board chose to continue using down our reserve, which at the time was healthy, before addressing the fee increase. This was enough to get us through basically another year or 2016. It was determined that going forward, all residents in our curbside program would pay an equal amount, which for 2017 was determined to be $3.33 per month per household, or $40 a year. That includes curbside, HHW, and administrative costs. There was also a debate regarding an HHW fee to all residential households in the county, since all residential households in the county are eligible to use the program, the HHW program. There were a lot of conversations about that. After a great deal of debate over several meetings, the decision to charge such a fee was postponed. This subject will be brought up again at our January board meeting in order for the board to consider it moving forward. That way, everyone in the county would be paying the fee. Placing the fee on the tax bill saved the district roughly $80,000 per year in printing and postage to bill all the county residents twice per year. We also had staff spending the majority of their time trying to track down non-payments, which was a very high rate when we were just billing straight. We are not the first district to collect fees in such a manner. Other districts have been doing the same for years. So we didn't create this wheel. We actually copied what others were doing. The question then came up about if someone could lose their home to tax sale if they did not pay the recycling fees. Attorney opinions from our attorney, other local attorneys, and other districts around the state was that no, the law does not allow tax sale for unpaid recycling fees or solid waste district fees. Our only recourse to collect fees owed would be small claims, which is what we'd always done in the past. I met with Mike Crook, County Treasurer, and Lau Associates, who handle the tax software. The result is that the recycling fees have been flagged, or actually unflagged. Something in the background, there's a box for every line item on the tax bill. If that box is checked, it can trigger a tax sale. If it is not checked, it cannot trigger or be included in calculation of a tax sale. That box is not flagged, so it will never trigger. The other change that we requested and got was that our fees are now set at the lowest priority for posting of funds. So if a partial payment is made towards taxes, the money is posted to items that can trigger a tax sale. We would not have any money posted to the line item on the tax bill for solid waste management district recycling fees until all other fees are paid first. That way, there can be no backdoor way of we get money, but something else is short and triggers a tax sale. Those changes have already been done in the software. To be honest with you, there were meeting after meeting after meeting, and finally I asked the question, why is it Lau here? So we got Lau here and they did it in 5 minutes. So that's taken care of. The district purchased a building at 828 Kerr Street in South Bend, which we closed on in February. Our offices moved in March, and our HFW program moved and officially opened there on November 6th. I left the office to come here tonight. It took 6 minutes from this building. Kerr Street, in case you don't know, is at Sample and Chapin, where there's Ideal consolidated on the corner in Midwest. Kerr Street runs next to Midwest. As soon as you turn on Kerr Street, you can see our building on the side. Should be noted, too, I want to note this, that the majority of work needed to get the building ready to go fully operational was performed by our staff, which saved $25,000 to $30,000 in fees to have other people run phone lines and Ethernet lines. I also want to point out that that was basically my job in that was to say, I'll hold the ladder. But other people pitched in and we got that all taken care of ourselves. It took about a month and we did it ourselves. Also, there have been comments made that are suggested that the program fees went up because we bought the building. Actually, our mortgage payments and utilities so far have run under or just about equal to what our rent payments have always been in the past. So, which we knew would be the case. This move gave us the ability to have all staff in one location, have more usable space to do things more efficiently and safely, and also keep everything inside. If you've ever been to our place in Mishawaka, in the summer when it got really busy, there were skids of items outside on the ground. That's unacceptable. We now have close to 4 times the amount of space indoors. So everything is now inside. We also, one of the main reasons for leaving is not just to be able to have more space to do things more efficiently and be able to supervise better, but also to be more centrally located in the county population than we were previously on the far east side of Mishawaka. It was a great relationship with the city of Mishawaka. They provided assistance to us, and we certainly helped them out, but we just outgrew the place. In 2016, we had approximately 11,500 vehicles go through, which was the highest year ever. We also took in over 1.1 million pounds of hazardous material and electronics at our facility, which is also the highest amount ever. So far this year, through November, we are on pace to match or surpass the number of people using the program, excuse me, and the amount of materials that we've taken in. The facility is now open 6 days a week since we don't have to follow the city of Mishawaka's hours, and accepts various hazardous household items, flammable stains, paints, gasolines, used oil, antifreeze, cleaners, acids. I'm amazed by the amount of acids we get coming out of people's homes. Basics, caustics, pesticides, aerosols, mercury-containing fluorescent bulbs, and other devices, electronics, tires, pool chemicals, etc. All the things we do not anymore want to put down the drain, pour in the back corner of the yard, or pour off in the alley. Those items are taken by a company that we contract with, and the ones that can be recycled, cleaned up, and recycled, mostly that is the used motor oil. That's what's done with them. The rest of them are taken to an EPA-approved internal facility in Galveston, Texas, where they are burned off without any residue. So they're properly disposed of. The curbside program serves households in unincorporated St. Joe County, the city of South Bend, and the towns of New Carlisle and North Liberty. We are entering our 20th year providing curbside recycling. 29 to 30 million pounds of recyclables are collected annually through that program. The first 10 years we're contracted with Waste Management to provide this service, and Borden Waste Away Group has had the contract for the last 9 years and next year. The current contract is set to expire at the end of 2018. Borden has stated an interest in extending the contract, and the initial offer from them was all of the same pricing structure as currently contracted and an extension of another 10 years. They requested this in order to invest in new trucks, make improvements in their processing facility, which would allow more materials to be accepted, such as film plastics like dry cleaning bags, shopping bags, rock salt bags, the kind of things now that there's a market for. It's not necessarily a good market, but their equipment, the line that all this runs through, cannot handle it at this time. This information was presented to the board in our November meeting, and a further discussion was had at our December meeting. Subsequently, at the direction of the board, I have had further conversations with Borden, and they are working on some other additions to a proposed extension. I basically requested everything. We won't get everything. I do not know what all of this will be. I'll be meeting with them later this week to have further conversations, and should know more at that time. At our January board meeting, they will have some choices to make. Extend the current contract, send out an RFP, or potentially end providing curbside recycling. This option, this last option, does not appear to have much support, although it has been mentioned and it is an option. Due to timing issues, the decision to extend the current contract or put out an RFP will have to take place in January. One of the things that I did want to note is one of the concerns that had come up is in these discussions was a 10-year extension. 10 years ago now, when an RFP was put out, 4 companies bid. The Waste Management only bid on the old manual little 18-gallon container. For some reason, they said they could do the other service if we wanted to know what they wanted to do. Borden, on a 5-year proposal, was $3.06 per month per household. BFI Allied was $4.04 per month per household. And Reliable Republic was $3.29 per household. Borden also gave an alternative bid at that time of a 10-year for $1.84 per household. We are now up to $1.98 after 9 years. I want to point that out because the concern is a 10-year extension. It's an awful long time. But 10 years ago, the next lowest bid was over $1 more than what we're paying now after 9 years for the equipment and the investment that any company would have to make. This is a brief update. Some of these things could take 2 hours to explain individually. But we are a highly used program, serving the residents throughout the county, including the city of South Bend. I'd like to offer to come to address the council at least annually in the future. In this format, committee meetings, whatever your pleasure, in order to provide an update on what we're doing and how we're doing. The program has grown immensely. Basically, our HHW is the tail that wags the dog anymore. I can tell you that 6 years ago, we budgeted $57,000 a year to get rid of everything that came in. The amount of stuff that's come out that we get now, at this point, it has grown so much, we budget $300,000. And we'll probably spend over $250,000 at least this year. That is just to remove all of the stuff that we take in. So it's used, that's great, that's what we're here for, and those are the things that we do not want getting in the waste stream, the water stream, or on the ground. So I'd also like to invite you to come and see our facility. It's easy to find. We're proud of it. We actually have room. People aren't dirty when they get off of work anymore. Employees smile. The public's happy. Citizens in Mishawaka, not necessarily, but everyone else is. So if you have a chance, give us a call. We'll keep the light on and come by and see us. That's all I have at this time. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer.
Any questions for Council Redmond?
Thank you for your presentation. Next meeting date, and if anyone wants to chase in comments with regard to this contract, to whom should they send?
Actually, call 235-9971.
Thank you.
And our meeting dates, by the way, I can get this to everyone here. Joe might.
That'd be great,
I'm not
I think,
sure.
to include for the record.
Pardon me?
I think that would be great to include in the record, the dates, the annual
please.
calendar that was just set, please.
January, all of our meetings are on the 7th floor, County City Building, Commissioners Conference Room. They're all on Mondays, the scheduled ones, the regular scheduled ones, and they all begin at 10 a.m. January 8th, February 12th, March 12th, April 9th, May 14th, August 13th, August 27th, October 1st, and December 3rd. To be honest with you, we normally meet every other month starting in January. February and April meetings are if business required. I wanted to schedule it so it was on. With everything going on, decisions that need to be made. We scheduled meetings earlier in the year. And in August, there's 2 meetings. The second one will be canceled if we have a quorum for the first one and can get the budget approved in time for the county councils.
Do you have that somewhere electronically?
Pardon me?
Is that somewhere listed electronically online?
It will be as soon as, it just got approved last week. I have to send it to the media.
On the
And
county website? Is that
On
where?
our website, which you can get to through the county.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get a link to our website.
That's what I was asking, so we can get the minutes.
Yeah. We'll get that linked up to our site too.
Okay.
All right.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. Any other questions?
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the update.
Thank you very much.
And we will talk about having that Public Works Committee, have you come more often.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, moving along. There is no reports from city offices. Susanna Fritzberg is here representing the mayor's office. Welcome. He doesn't count. He's DCI. That's right. I'll entertain a motion to rise committee at whole.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Get that again. Certain ways you count, Doctor.
The committee of the whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council meeting where the full council meets as a committee. During each ordinance, members of the public will have an opportunity to speak either in favor or in opposition. And with that, are limited to 5 minutes in their comments. Would the city clerk please read 6717?
6717. Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, annexing and bringing within the city limits of South Bend, Indiana, and amending the zoning ordinance for property located in German Township, contiguous therewith, Councilmanic District Number 1 for 24605 Cleveland Road, South Bend, Indiana.
Is there a committee report, please?
The Zoning and Annexation Committee met earlier this afternoon and gave us a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a presenter?
Good evening, Angela Smith from the Area Planning Commission. Office is located in the 11th floor of this building. The petitioner is seeking to rezone the 10 acres highlighted here in red in the property on the north side of Cleveland Road. As you can see from the zoning map, it's a piece of property zoned A agricultural in the county, but it's completely surrounded by property zoned LI light industrial in the city of South Bend. There's currently a single-family home on the property that would be demolished to make way for the industrial development as the site develops at the new zone today. There is no proposed development at this time. The petitioner is seeking to rezone this to combine it with the parcel to the east to allow for a larger industrial development site. This comes to you from the Area Plan Commission with a favorable recommendation. Rezoning the site to Allied Light Industrial will allow for the development of an underutilized parcel in an industrial area of the city. We're happy to answer any questions.
And I apologize, I'm going to entertain a motion, if just so we can get all of this item taken care of today, and we don't have to wait till the third reading of our next meeting, which I think is in a month. Is it okay?
I think you have to wait for a third meeting to extend.
Maybe we can suspend the rules. We have plenty of times before, where we move resolutions before.
It's supposed to be a third meeting, I think you have to have a third meeting. You can suspend the rules to move them around.
I think they need another meeting.
I think you have to have a
Yeah, I
third
think
meeting.
they have to have
The
another
statute
meeting.
requires.
Oh,
They have to have another
fourth
meeting,
so,
yes.
Okay.
They have to have another meeting.
I apologize.
That's all right.
I thought it was just a third reading.
You can move it around so that we can hear both of them.
But yeah, but they.
No, but we
they won't
still
be-
get to hear the resolution this evening, but you
Yes.
can't, you need to have a third
So
meeting.
this will
Yes,
make,
on the
take
second
motion
one.
to, all right.
I apologize. So no motion. We'll just keep this going because we don't have to do it until the third reading. Okay. So with that, would the petitioner like to add anything? Please state your name and address. Sorry about the confusion.
Paul Fair with Holiday Properties, offices located at 227 South Main Street here in South Bend. I'll be brief with my comments. We believe that the light industrial zoning is appropriate to the character of this area, and we do own the parcel that's adjacent to the east of the subject property, as you heard. With this 20-acre site, we have a great opportunity for industrial development in the city, and we believe it's also a great economic development opportunity for the city as well. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions for presenter or petitioner? Seeing none, we'll move to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, back to the council. What's your
Chair,
pleasure?
I make a motion to send 6717 to the full council with third reading on 1/8.
Any recommendation?
Favorable?
Did you say favorable? I didn't hear it.
I'm as favorable.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion carries. City Clerk, would you please read 8117?
8117. Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, for budget transfers for various departments within the City of South Bend, Indiana, for the year 2017.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the substitute version.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
I would also like to make a motion for just purpose of public hearing to hear substitute bill 8117, 8217, 8317, and 8417 together, but we would have to vote separately on all these bills.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. I guess City Clerk, would you please also read 8217, 8317, and 8417?
8217. Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating funds for certain departmental and enterprise operations in 2017 of $49,745 from the Consolidated Building Fund, Code Enforcement, Fund Number 600, $1,500 from the Waterworks Deposit Fund, Number 624, $1,000 from the Waterworks Sinking Fund, Number 625, $4,500 from Waterworks Debt Service OM Fund, 629, $30,000 from the Sewage Works OM Reserve, 643, and $148,300 from the Century Center Fund, 670. 8317. Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds, departmental and city service operations in 2017 of $125,000 from the DCI Grant Fund 212, $100,000 from State Seized Drug Money 216, $250,000 from the Liability Insurance Fund 226, $49,000 from Kovaleski Stadium Fund 401, $955,670 from the Vehicle Equipment Leasing Fund 750, $22,500,000 from the Eddy Street Commons Capital Fund Number 759, and $2,500,000 from the Eddy Street Commons Debt Service Fund 760. 8417, public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 2, Article 14, Section 2-17 of the South Bend Municipal Code to establish various funds: Moore's Performing Arts, Center Self-Promoted Events Fund 274, Parental Leave Fund 714, and the 2017 Parks Bond Fund number 471.
There are committee reports for all four.
Yes, the Personnel and Finance Committee held a committee meeting, public hearings on all 4 bills, and we sent all 4 to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a presenter, please?
Good evening, Council. Jen Hockenhull, City Controller, offices on the 12th floor of this building. Before you, you have a second substitute bill of the budget transfers. These are transfers within one fund, so they're not asking for any additional money. We're just moving funds between different categories within the budgets that were appropriated in 2017. A few to talk about, and this is a substitute only from the original due to one division number wasn't quite right on the first one, and we highlighted it on here. So some of the items that are on here are in 2017 we started fully charging all departments for water. So our Parks Department was under budgeted for that because we didn't really know what to expect with the splash pads. They're very expensive but very important. So that was one of the items that we did this year. We had, in the past, we budgeted our personnel, and if people took health insurance, we budgeted for health insurance, and often if they didn't, we didn't budget for health insurance. There's one on here for human rights where the person originally in that position didn't take health insurance, so it wasn't budgeted, so we're just transferring some money to cover health insurance. Going forward, I think the practice is now just budget health insurance for the most part. There's one for IT and innovation where originally when we budgeted in different divisions for innovation versus IT. We decided to roll them all up into one. It just makes more sense, so we're just moving money between the 2 different divisions that were originally set up. And then our telephone costs were higher this year than anticipated. And when we were reviewing these during the budget season, we found that there were some circuits that had gone up in price and that we really didn't need anymore. So we went ahead and eliminated those circuits. So while we weren't able to save as much in 2017 as we would have liked, we will be saving roughly $360,000 in 2018 on those from shutting down those circuits. And we did talk briefly about that during the budget season, but there were...
He just stepped out.
Okay. I want to say that there were, I can't remember the number of circuits, but there were a number of circuits that were shut down based on working together and doing the IT allocation and really digging into all the numbers that we were charging for. So that was one of the bonuses of really digging into the allocations that we had this year. And the last one I was going to point out is in our Edit Fund 408, we had some debt service payments that were for December of 2016 that were paid at the beginning of January of 2017. So we're just trying to right-size that budget to cover that. So those were the main items. Does anyone have any questions on the transfers?
Any questions from council? Yes,
With regards to the savings, the circuits that we shut down, to whom do we make the payment for those circuits?
I believe it's AT&T.
Of course.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Seeing none at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of any of these 4 bills? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, the public portion is closed. Back to the council. What's your pleasure?
Do we have to vote on these all separately?
Yes, please.
Yeah, motion separate.
Motion to bring to the full council 8217 favorably. Substitute?
It's a second.
8117.
It's a second substitute.
So motion for a second substitute. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. 8217.
Motion to bring to the 8217 favorably.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Motion to bring 8317 favorably.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And motion to bring 8417 favorably.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Entertain a motion to rise and resolve from the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 8-1.
Full council's now back in session. Ms. Fowler, would you please give reading to 8117?
8117. Third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana for budget transfers for various departments within the City of South Bend, Indiana for year 2017.
Entertain a motion to amend as it was in the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion for passage?
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly?
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
9 ayes.
8217.
8217, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and enterprise operations in 2017 of $49,745 from Consolidated Building Fund, Code Enforcement Number 600, $1,500 from the Waterworks Deposit Fund, number 624, $1,000 from the Waterworks Sinking Fund, number 625, $4,500 from the Waterworks Debt Service OM Fund, 629, $30,000 from the Sewage Works OM Reserve, 643, and $148,300 from the Century Center Fund, number 670.
Motion for passage?
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Kelly?
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. 8317, please.
8317, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city service operations in 2017 of $125,000 from the DCI Grant Fund, number 212, $100,000 from State Seized Drug Money, number 216, $250,000 from the Liability Insurance Fund, number 226, $49,000 from the Kovaleski Stadium Fund, number 401, $955,670 from the Vehicle Equipment Leasing Fund, number 750, $22,500,000 from the Eddy Street Commons Capital Fund, number 759, and $2,500,000 from the Eddy Street Commons Debt Service Fund, number 670.
Move for passage.
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. 8417.
8417, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 2, Articles 14, Section 2-170 for the South Bend Municipal Code to establish various new funds for the Morris Performing Arts Center Self-Promoted Events Fund, number 274, Parental Leave Fund, number 714, and the 2017 Parks Bond Fund, number 471.
Motion for passage?
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly?
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. Move the resolutions now. We'll give a reading to 1774, please.
1774, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Area Board of Zoning Appeals for property located at 926 Erskine Plaza, South Bend, Indiana, 46614.
Is there a committee report?
The Zoning and Annexation Committee met earlier today and gave us a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Presenter.
Ioka Pake, Zoning and Business Services Administrator with the Building Department at 125 Lafayette, Suite 100. The special exception petition for a tattoo establishment in a CB Commercial Business District comes to you with a favorable recommendation from the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. The petitioner plans to do microblading as part of a beauty salon business already open at this location. Microblading is considered tattooing by the state, requiring the applicant to go through special exception process before you can get a health department approval. No one spoke in remonstrance at the ABZA meeting. If you have any questions for me, I can answer them. The petitioner is also here. He can clarify what the use actually is.
Thank you, Petitioner. If you come up and give a brief, very brief stated. Then we'll take questions.
My name is Tom Tran. I'm at 644 East 16th Street in Mishawaka, Indiana. Mike Blading Services is considered a semi-permanent tattooing service that draws in fine hair-like cuts into the eyebrow that last anywhere between 9 and 18 months.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Sounds painful.
It wasn't. He pointed that out in committee.
Just thought of it.
Thank you. Is anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor, please come forward. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against, please come forward. Thank you. We turn back to council.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Vice President Davis.
I thankfully vote aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. Good luck.
Nice.
1776, please.
1776, a resolution confirming the adoption of a declaratory resolution designating certain areas within the city of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as Jefferson Boulevard and Main Street, South Bend, Indiana, 466, as an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 6-year real personal property tax abatement for River Park Leasing Corporation.
Thank you. Is there a presenter? Dr. Mueller, now you matter to us.
Good evening, Council. James Mueller, Executive Director of Community Investment. I'm glad I've been invited and able to speak. This is the confirming resolution of the tax abatement for the new office space right across from the County City building there on Jefferson, Maine. It's a $9 million of private investment, approximately 38,000 square feet of space. And it's the first such development in the downtown area in a couple of decades. I know we had a lengthy discussion last time, so I'll see if you have any questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We'll open up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this confirming, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against 1776, please come to the podium. Back to council.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. 1778, please.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, adopting a written physical plan and establishing a policy for the provisions of services to an annexation area in German Township, Baney Annexation Area.
Thank you. Is there a presenter?
Good evening, Michael DeVita, planner with Department of Community Investment, office on the 14th floor of this building. So this fiscal plan is for a 9.65 acre annexation requested by the property owner of 24605 Cleveland Road, which is on Cleveland Road or Mims Parkway just west of the bypass. As you heard earlier in the meeting, the site's proposed to be redeveloped for light industrial uses. No capital improvements are planned by the city as part of this annexation. Water and sewer are both available along Cleveland and Eagle Way at the south and north edges of the area. The adjacent portion of Cleveland Road is already within the city limits. The annexation area will be added to Common Council's first district and be served by Police Beat 22, Fire Station 11 located on Bennix Drive, Emergency Medic 11, and Code Enforcement Area 8. These and other non-capital services will be in place within 1 year of the effective date of annexation, with response times comparable to other areas of the city. I then ask for the Council's adoption of the fiscal plan, but we're happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions on that? Seeing none, is there a petitioner? You're it, right? Okay. No, never mind. He covered you. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of 1778, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against 1778, please come to the podium. Back Back to council.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Furlick,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Preston,
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly,
Aye.
Councilmember Broden,
Aye.
Councilmember Varner,
Aye.
Vice President Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty,
Aye.
President Scott,
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. 1779, please.
1779, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving an interlocal agreement between the City of South Bend, Indiana and the St. Joseph County for a provision of the ambulance service in St. Joseph County.
Thank you. Is there a presenter? Oh, wait, committee report.
Health and Public Safety met and sends this to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Now is there a presenter?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Steve Cox. I'm the fire chief with the South Bend Fire Department, offices at 1222 South Michigan Street. We're respectfully requesting the council approve this resolution, which would basically allow the South Bend Fire Department to provide service for the unincorporated portions of the county, the paramedic ambulance service for the next 2 years. Additionally, beyond the 2 years, the contract is set to renew annually, assuming neither party is wanting to terminate the contract, as we talked about in committee. I'm here to answer any questions anybody has.
Council, any questions? Seeing none. Thank you. Open up to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of 1779, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against 1779, please come to the podium. Back to council.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Preston,
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly,
Aye.
Councilmember Broden,
Aye.
Councilmember Varner,
Aye.
Vice President Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty,
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick,
Aye.
President Scott,
Aye.
9 ayes.
Thank you. 1780, please.
1780. A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana to appoint the Board of Public Works and the Department of Public Works as its agent for overseeing the Guarantee Energy Savings Contract for venues, parks, and arts.
Thank you. Is there a committee report?
There is, President Scott. The Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Culture Committee met earlier today and sends this substitute Resolution 1780 to the full council.
Thank you. Is there a presenter?
Good evening. My name is Therese Duro. I'm the director of the Sustainability Office for the City of South Bend, with offices located on the 13th floor of this building. Guaranteed Energy Savings Contracts are a special type of public works project and therefore are governed under state statute. They account for both the design of an energy savings project as well as the construction of an energy savings project. The first step of that is a energy audit of all facilities that would be considered for treatment under the project, and so that will include all venues, parks, and arts facilities as well as outdoor facilities such as trails and ballparks. It's a great opportunity to save energy, but it does require a lot of collaboration between the council and a very qualified partner, which we are well on our way to selecting. So with your aye vote on this resolution, we'll be able to move forward with the design of this project, and we will come back to the council with a project recommendation after several months of engineering.
Great. Any questions from council?
How many people are involved in the qualified partners? Like, is that within the state of Indiana, or can we go outside the state of Indiana? What's sort of?
So when we wrote our request for qualifications, we thought it was important that the provider be listed by the Department of Local Government Finance as registered as eligible for public works projects, both the design and the construction, because this is a design build kind of project. So we limited our potential applicants to that pool, but it included, in my technical opinion, the best available contractors that work nationally. So many of these very qualified national firms have Indiana-based or Midwest-based teams that would work directly with us.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you. We'll open up the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of 1780, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against 1780, please come to the podium. Again, back to council.
Motion for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
President Scott.
Point of order. This was to be amended as
Yeah.
it
It
was
was
during the
amended.
committee.
Withdraw my second.
All right.
Withdraw the motion. Make a motion to adopt as, make a motion to adopt the amended version.
Second, as it was heard in committee. Yeah.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry about that.
All right, make a motion to adopt the amended version.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Fowler, sorry. Start all over.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly.
Aye.
Councilmember Broden.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
And President Scott.
Aye.
9 ayes.
Sorry about that. There were some Scribner errors that were cleaned up. Bills, first reading. Ms. Fowler, 8517, please.
8517, first reading on an ordinance initiated by the Area Plan Commission of St. Joseph County, amending Chapter 21 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 9, Administrative Updates, Procedures for Zoning Map Amendment, Variances, Special Exception Uses, and Written Commitments associated with the Area Board of Zoning Appeals, Applications, Article Number 11, Definitions to further define the zoning administrator as the executive director of the Area Plan Commission, and Article 12, Floodplain Regulations to designate the building commissioner as the floodplain administrator.
I move this bill be sent to the Area Plan Commission for their meeting on 12/19 and referred to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for second reading and public hearing on January 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. 8617, please.
8617, first reading on an ordinance initiated by the Area Plan Commission of St. Joseph County, amending Chapter 21 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 10, Enforcement by adding the Area Plan Commission to the designated enforcement staff.
I move this also be sent to the Area Plan Commission for their meeting on 12/19 and also referred to the Zoning and Annexation Committee of the Council for our second reading and public hearing on January 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. 8717, please.
8717, first reading on an ordinance initiated by the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 1 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 13, Historic Preservation Commission, in connection with the transition of historic preservation staff to the City of South Bend under the interlocal agreement between the City of South Bend and St. Joseph County.
I move this be sent to the Community Investment Committee for second reading and public hearing on January 8th. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. 8817 is a Scribner's error. That is correct. It is a repeat of 8617, so
You got the vote to
strike it.
I'll make a motion to strike.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. 8917, please.
8917, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 21 of the South Bend Municipal Code, Article 3, Commercial/Mixed-Use District, to revise permitted uses and development standards.
I move this be sent to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for second reading and public hearing on January 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Unfinished business, please. 1775.
1775, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend approving a petition of the Area Board of Zoning Appeal for property located at 806 Howard Street, Portage Township, South Bend, Indiana, 46617.
I move this be referred to the Area Plan Commission for their meeting on 12/19 and then referred to the, or assigned to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for a second reading and public hearing on January 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
He just did that.
No, for this one.
1775, yeah.
No, it's 80,
One more.
Just check what the rest of the motion was. On
You did 1775?
8917.
Hold on a minute, 8917.
You
I
said
just had area plan, does it go to, I mean, I have zoning and annexation.
It goes to area plan.
it goes to area plan.
I thought you just read 1775.
She
Well, let's
did.
finish 775,
Right.
but I'm saying.
Yeah, hold on a minute.
I think
All
that.
right. So, is there a motion for 1775? John, you just made it. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Let's go back to 8917, please. All I had was area plan, I mean zoning and annexation.
That's all we talked about in committee, yes.
Right.
Does it need to go to area plan?
It needs to go to area plan.
Okay.
All right.
Is it going to be a joint?
No, it needs to go to
No,
area
it should
plan.
go to area plan before it comes to the
Yeah.
zoning committee. They're meeting on 12/19.
Yeah.
Then can we have a new motion for 8917?
Motion to send 8917 to area plan on this, what's that, 12/19? And then the ZNA and a meeting on January the 8th,
Okay.
2018.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Move on to new business.
Yes.
Vice President Davis.
Good evening. Sorry I was not able to be there this afternoon. I will be sending out a meeting notice regarding our homeless situation and our homeless bill of rights. We'll send out a notice and send out. I know Councilwoman Broden has sent me a notice. I'm still catching up on a lot of things, and so I'll send it out so we can send an agenda for next week for our meeting on next Wednesday, the 20th. I would like to just share that this is
12:20 is the meeting?
That's correct.
All right.
And this is just we'll get an update from our attorney, and then that way it gives us the direction of which way to start channeling where we're going to go. I also will be sending out some other documents that I have too, that I'd like you all to take a look at, that I've been working on my own research, and so that coincides with this. So you can look at all of these different ideas together. So we'll put that together and read it. You have a statement, you said?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I hope to have the options in a memo to you by Wednesday, Thursday, the very latest.
Okay.
For the consideration for the meeting on the 20th.
Okay.
So basically, what I'll do, once I get your
memo,
then I'll send out a note to you.
So, and you'll let me know like who the presenters are, or there's several people? Or you just having Bob, that's it?
We just having Bob.
Okay.
I mean, we're not rushing all this
Oh, I
stuff
wasn't
right
sure.
now. I know. Right now, I shared everything, all the presenters, and we'll organize how we're going to do it. Look, that all has not been put together yet.
No.
I mean, we're at the beginning stages. We're seeing some direction from him, and then after that, we'll start putting everything together. So I don't have anybody coming to present. I mean, this is Christmas, y'all. People don't really, we're just getting a position, and then we have all the presenters starting in January.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
Trust me, I'm not asking for any meetings.
If I could comment, I think with regard to the timing on this, it would be very important that we chase as many of these documents to the clerk's Dropbox that has been established,
That's right.
as well as Laserfish or what's the other?
Clerk's office.
Yes, chase it to the clerk's office, and that those become as easily publicly available as possible. So then, because one of the things I heard was people want input on this issue. So if we can utilize our time by getting things that we'll be considering in advance, I think that's terrific. So let's just settle the information going into the meeting, and then I understand, Oliver, that this can be preliminary, but let's try to get as much as we can into the public
That is why
hands in advance.
I agree with you. That's why this is a totally different approach. Typically, we've had an ordinance almost put together in our recommendation by the time we come up and do all this kind of thing.
in public and everything else. And so you all are getting a chance, because of the nature of everything going on, is to see how everything's lining up. And so, I mean, you're still getting things from square one, but for the issue of transparency, and then just wanted to have a lunch scheduled with Miss Susanna Fitchburg. We just did it Thursday, so we got to get on page there so we can all, nobody's running ahead of each other, except the mayor's call to unity. So, it's Christmas.
Dr. Brown.
We print those long.
As long as Ms. Fitchburg is here with the mayor's office. I'm not sure what the collection schedule was on the leaves.
Cover sheet, it gives the
A lot of
dates,
things
and
on
this
the
is the
southeast
critical
side of town
form.
didn't get breached on the second pass or the third pass, whichever it was.
So that's what's
So
missing.
as soon as we get a break in the weather, we're still putting the crews out. It would be good to come back to the south side because we've got a lot of leaves that I know are going to end up in the street if they don't get picked up. Thank you, ma'am.
If can I add to that? Can we just look at possibly one more round? Because I know when I've gotten a lot of emails, a lot of times they came up to the southwest side, they came in November. But as we all realize, the way the weather was this year, majority of the leaves were not down. And so we just got, the best thing that happened, we had a lot of wind blew a few days ago. And so, you know, but that's still, after this and after the snow, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll certainly speak for the board. It'll just depend on what the weather's going to be.
I understand. We have peace.
All right. Ms. White?
Yes, I believe on Monday, December the 18th, the school board is scheduled to take action on their Focus 2018 proposal. The meeting will be held at their, I think the fourth floor conference room. Third. And it starts at 5:30. So we're encouraging all council members and others to please attend. And I don't know if they're going to be asking for public input, but it's an opportunity for us to really weigh in. The school board has had a number of meetings throughout the community. And again, it's important that we, as council, that we're aware of what's happening in terms of our educational system.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for new business?
Last words I have is I'd just like to thank everybody. It's been a good year serving with y'all. Our last meeting of the year. So, oh well. Well, go ahead and say it. I'll back off. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for a good year. This is our last meeting. We will send out another announcement that we will not be meeting on December 25th. I don't know why. One thing that I did put together that is on the council Facebook page is just kind of some recap of some of the data that in the facts of what this council has done. We've heard 161 bills and resolutions, 86 bills and 75 resolutions, 16 tax abatements, 12 special exceptions, and rezonings. So I know we're going to be looking at tax abatements, rezonings, and special exceptions. So that's pretty good. Council attendance was excellent for all these meetings. We hit 93% attendance. You know, life happens. Sometimes we miss things. I've had family issues to deal with. Regina Williams-Preston and Mr. Oliver Davis both made every single council meeting. So thank you so much. Good job. That was a total of 23 meetings, including the one tonight. Committee meetings, our attendance was 81%. For those, that was 132 committee meetings. Not everybody has to attend committee meetings, so that's really not a strike against you. It's good to show what's going on, because if you're not on a committee, you're not, you don't have to attend. You're not required to attend. So the good thing is most of the time we are here listening, even if we're not on committee. So I want to thank everybody for their hard work on this council. It's been a good year and a productive year, and cooperation. Tricia Sloma asked me one time, we don't hear about this council in the news. And I'm like, bore you guys to death. That's the way I like to do things. And we've been productive. So new business. Anything else we have is privilege of the floor. This is the point where everybody can get up and speak. You have 3 minutes. You cannot speak on anything that was on the agenda tonight or spoken about. This is the time for citizens to address the council. We do not answer immediately. We will give you guys feedback or assign it to committee or ask the city to get involved if it's something pertinent that the city needs to get involved. You have 3 minutes apiece. Give your name and address. I got it. No, Gavin Furley's got it.
To do it.
You got 3 minutes. Gavin Furley will time you. He'll give you a 30-second warning, so you can come to the podium. I know Mr. Brown is a veteran and knows how to do this.
Samuel Brown, 222 Fire Street, City, South Bend. And I want to echo Ms. White, what she just said to the council about the school board, the best where I've been. I've been listening to a couple of council meetings, maybe 3, I don't know. It's not normal for me to do.
I know.
It ain't that I don't care about the city, because they do. But a school system is very important. What we're going through right now. We're going through a lot. And I go to the school board meeting, and I didn't even foresee this coming, what we're going through. And I hope we just get through it without a lot of pain. With saying that, I hope you, as the council, would echo what Ms. White said, come support the kids and put your input to the board that govern our school system. And another thing I would like to say before I leave is in the inner city, we're still burying people and we're having a lot of gunfire out there. So I would like you, the council, to ask Mr. Scott to send Mr. Bukowski a letter and ask him if he forgot about the inner city, because the other night down on Birchall and Linden sounded like Beirut. You know, my buddy called me and it was just like the Wild Wild West. And it's all over the inner city. So I know that he's got a lot to cover, but we in the inner city are dodging bullets. So I wish you guys would support Mr. Scott, get a letter to Mr. Bukowski, and for him to address Mr. Scott back that he ain't forgot about the inner city and that he's working on it. Let us have some hope from it. That's what I would like to hear. Because I don't think just a layman person like myself won't have no effect to contact him. So maybe somebody like Mr. Scott and his council, you contact him, I think might get some result. Thanks for listening to my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Anyone else? Name and address, sir.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Jamie Haig. I live at 925 North Notre Dame Avenue in South Bend. So I want to preview tonight an issue of great importance to the families in my neighborhood, which is on the agenda for next month's meeting. It's a petition for variances and special exceptions.
Sir, hold on a minute.
Sorry.
It's regarding...
Am I out?
It's regarding the unfinished business that was on the agenda.
Oh, I can't speak to it?
Yep, it's on the agenda. You can't do that.
If you'd like to speak generally about just general zoning issues.
Okay, general zoning issues.
There.
Can I speak to general zoning
Also,
issues?
if you want, you can submit your speech or what you're going to say to the clerk's office, and they can pass that out to council. But
okay.
You cannot speak of anything on the agenda tonight.
Okay. Can I say just a minute about general
Very
zoning?
general.
Very general.
You know,
Very general zoning when property owners invest in a neighborhood and they rely on the zoning rules that are in place. When someone seeks a variance or an exception to that, generally, to advantage their property, to very generally the disadvantage of the other property owners might think that's unfair and perhaps not consistent with the zoning rules, and so you may be hearing in general sense from certain of those owners. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
That was well done.
Do you want to leave your information with the clerk's office?
So we can generally look over it.
Seeing no one else?
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Second.
All in favor?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Christmas and all the other stuff.
See you.
217 is in the book. I'll send you another one. Okay. And I'll get all that stuff.
She's got to work.
Bob, so
Your microphone.
Wednesday, Thursday,
I'll be in tomorrow.
At least for Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot of
That's a hot mic. I can hear it. I don't know if it's mics, but it's fine. I'm not ready.
I do not.
He served in the war as an artillery guy.
Can I have a one real quick?
All right. Thank you.
So he's going to be in tomorrow.
Are you putting together sort of summaries? I know that you don't.
Yeah, we put it.
Give me super.
Yeah, I sent everybody. I didn't get some.
You can just, and you can even just.
So what does it give us this to someone like him?
No rush. Make it as simple as possible.
Okay.
And I don't even need to decide.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Ironwood stuff? They came and talked a lot, so did it was never on the agenda. It was continued.
And you gonna bring the box?
One time they did come, and it was on the agenda because we continued it. Shut them.